Hello everyone, welcome. We're coming to you from Townsville, and here we have Dr. Lynore Geia, nursing and midwifery academic at James Cook University, and much more as well. Thank you for joining. And Lynore, can you tell us a bit about yourself and where we are?
Hi, we're in Townsville. We're actually on the top of Castle Hill on Walgaruba and Bindal country. And I'm a Bulgaman woman. I can see my country from the top of this hill, Palm Island. Yeah, we're just up here enjoying the view, just reflecting on the week that's passed, and particularly last Friday, IHMayDay. It was a big day, and we're still kind of catching up and processing the voices that came through, the messages that came through, and how fantastically positive it was.
For people who don't know what IHMayDay was, can you just give us a quick overview of it?
Yeah, IHMayDay was a day where we had a day of Twitter action and asking, allowing Indigenous voices, affording that space for Indigenous people to tell their stories, talk about issues that are important to them, about health, about Indigenous health. It was also a day where our non-Indigenous friends and allies sat back and listened and retweeted and supported us in that way, so that was great. Yeah, it was
lovely.
A big day. I mean, we actually exceeded our expectations really well. Last year we got 26 million Twitter impressions, and this year we're nearly 49, almost double. So that was fantastic, and it's all down to you guys out there who listen in and talk and retweet and support, so it's great.
Wonderful. John Paul Janke in Canberra just sent his greetings, so would you like to tell him what the temperature is here now roughly?
Hello John Paul. It's roughly about 27 to 28 degrees up here in sunny Townsville, and hello to you there in freezing Canberra.
That's great. He said he's loving following the discussion. So tell us more about IHMayDay. Why is it different, the narrative that you hear about health there and what you sometimes hear in the mainstream debate?
I think IHMayDay has been a really positive platform, and we've had Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from various sectors of health talk about what they're doing. So it's been a day of educating wider Australia about the positive things that are happening, the strength and the resilience, and the stories of survival. They're really important, and that we're out there working in our communities, doing positive things, making a difference, although it may not be on a national scale, but we are making a difference, and that's important. And the important thing is that we're making a difference in people's lives, and that's what, well, for me, IHMayDay is about investing in people's lives and speaking and building that relationship with each other, even if it's over the Twitter sphere. You don't know people personally, but words are powerful, and the way you speak, it engages.
Immersion in Twitter can be quite transformative, is my experience, because it's a place where you can listen to a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in a way that you might not be able to elsewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I marvel at, and I have a chuckle, and I think it's wonderful that we're so sophisticated that we can, get our minds around the technology really quick, and we use it. And I as I'm talking to you, I picture my 84-year-old mother as she was then before she passed away a couple of years ago. How in her, gnarled arthritic hand, she had a little Samsung phone that she'd flip open and she'd be looking at it and using it, and we're all marveling, oh Mum, look at you can use technology, and it's just fantastic to see that happening within our community, and for it to be used as a positive platform, to get our voices out there, to get our stories out there, so that wider Australia and even internationally they learn more about us, breaking those stereotypical thinking and the bigotry, and it's just important.
Just to let you know, someone has said hello from Canada, and also
from Canada.
John Paul just came back and said, that Twitter is a place where we're having national conversations, and we hope policymakers are listening there. And in fact, we know on IHMayDay that there were some politicians engaging.
Yes, and I do believe that it's become, it's not something that you can ignore anymore, Twitter. It's a platform for the people, and it's the people who put people in government. That's what it amounts to, and and people's voices are important. And you know, I think it's really important that policymakers and MPs log in and have a look at what people in their constituents are saying. I mean, certainly up here in North Queensland, there's a lot of issues up here that we'd love to talk to politicians about, but we don't get that platform, you know. And but Twitter is something that we could use, and you know, the fact that you can tag an MP into your tweet is amazing. Getting the voices out there, but having them respond is you know, another thing, yeah.
But we know, at least in Queensland, that the Health Minister was listening in on IHMayDay, and a number of other politicians tweeted in. So
it was lovely to see Lynore Geia, you know, be a part of the day. We were sorry she couldn't come into the Twitter hub, but she was on JCU campus, and it was just nice to have that interaction and engagement with her on the campus.
Now, a very pressing question for you from John Paul. Who's going to win Game 2 of the State of Origin?
Oh, come on, John Paul. You know, Queenslander. Of course.
And you're getting some hearts too, just to let you know.
Oh, thanks.
So, Lynore, can you tell us more about IHMayDay? Any of the issues that arose, or any of the discussions, the themes that stood out to you?
I think for me, it was a different IHMayDay than, you know, the one last year. The last year was our inaugural IHMayDay, and that was wonderful just to hear everybody and to see everybody talking, you know, together. This year, I sensed a really strong sense of leadership coming through community areas about what people are doing in their different programs, what they're doing in their community, and just sharing some of their visions and dreams. And that's leadership, you know. As leaders, we have got visions and dreams that we hope that, you know, to see them come to fruition one day. And I think that really came through. And what came through was a lot of support from non-Indigenous Australia, who are supporting us and listening to our voice, and I think that's fantastic. I think, for me personally, reconciliation is about a relationship on an individual level with, like Melissa, you and I, and for your neighbour, for people around you. It's also a part of a bigger policy thing, but to be impacting, we need to know each other, you know, get to know each other's story.
And we can hear a lot of people's stories through Twitter, and as you just said, you know, relationships. You and I met on Twitter.
Yes.
So I'm very grateful to Twitter for that. And I guess another one of the sessions that struck me as a, you know, as a white Australian and a journalist was the session from Michelle Lovegrove talking about institutionalised racism in the media. And, you know, I was very struck by your comments and her comments that sometimes you open the newspaper and it makes you feel physically sick, the way people are portrayed. Would you like to?
Well, sometimes I don't read it just because I think, you know, or I don't want to be bombarded with, you know, the mainstream media. That's okay. I don't want to be bombarded with same old stories you hear, you know, of deficit and what's wrong. I want to pick up a newspaper, you know, and see, well, this is what's happening in this Aboriginal community, or this is what this person is doing, and isn't that fantastic? And we should be, you know, supporting it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a real need, as Michelle's, you know, tweets mentioned, was that there's a real need to decolonise media and journalism education, because journalists are such powerful people in their own area. You know, they have the words, and they can be such powerful allies to breaking down that colonial or neo-colonial stereotypical attitudes that still remain today. I mean, people might take umbrage at that, but it's still here. You know, we live it every day, see it, and it'd be wonderful to see journalists take an interest in positive stories. You know, those little things that don't make huge, big mainstream, you know, mega stories, but the little things out there in the community that are happening.
And on that, you mentioned IHMayDay being a day of vision, just to let you know you're getting some more hearts there. What's your vision for the community on Palm Island? You know, where would you like to see the future there?
Oh, my vision as a Bulgaman woman, Palm Island woman, my personal vision is to see Palm Island with a strong self-governing leadership, to be have its own economy that can generate employment for Palm Island people, to be out there and competing with wider Australia within our own rights, but also maintaining our cultural identity as Bulgaman people. For me personally, I would like to see community control. That's, I think, community control and working in partnership with government, not government controlling us, but the community being self-determining. And because our lived experiences, you know, we know what they are, we know what the solutions are. I'd like to see government take more risk in pulling back, letting go of the reins a bit and letting us take charge. I mean, you could argue that, yes, there are councils there, you know, who are making decisions, but there's still a very strong sense of boundaries put around us. And I'd like to see Palm Island people to be able to take a more leading role in where the future of that community goes, you know.
Yeah. Just to let you know, John Paul also made the comment regarding media when you were talking earlier about the need for more representation on screen of, you know, Indigenous commentators and journalists and so on. So, is there anything else you'd like to add about IHMayDay before we turn to the Just Justice campaign?
I'd like to see IHMayDay become an annual event. I think, you know, all year we talk to each other, and I think with over a 12-month period, lots of things can be generated, and having that one day where we explode into Twitter sphere, I think is fantastic. And to be able to consolidate and have a voice of solidarity, and just to let you know, we're still here, we are surviving, we're resilient, and we're innovative. Sometimes I think government don't think blackfellas are innovative enough, but we're intelligent, we're here, and we have the solutions, you know. Talk to us, have equal partnership, build a relationship with us, and let us lead you instead of you leading us.
Yeah, and that is a good segue into Just Justice, because for those who don't know, that's a crowdfunding campaign that is underway now. We're on our last 24 hours almost with Croaky, and it's all about looking at over-incarceration of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, but looking for solutions, not just reiterating the statistics. See you, John Paul, he's got to go. Thank you, we'll soak up some of the warm sun for you. Yeah. So it's about looking for solutions, but most importantly it's about some of the funding going to community members for telling their stories and ideas for how to reduce over-incarceration. So would you like to talk about this from a, you know, your hat, I guess, as a community person
from a community person and a health professional? You know, in the community we see the effects of incarceration within the community, and we've seen absent fathers, absent men in family and role models that, you know, they traditionally would have played. We've seen also now absent mothers and aunties, and that really takes a toll on family dynamics and how the family operates within the community, and it also takes a toll on the community as a whole. And I think with addressing issues around Just Justice, there are several layers. There's that community layer. Firstly, there's that family layer, working with family units in a way that strengthens them and opens up avenues for healing for them. Then there's a community level, and particularly the community court level. You know, I know magistrates who are really wanting to see alternative ways of helping youth and young people in the community rather than sending them, for a term of incarceration. And I think that's an area where we really need to look at from a community perspective, but that has to be from a policy perspective as well. Is that feasible does the lawmakers in this country see that reparation can be made through community levels of work, engagement at that level,
It seems like so many of the policies are heading the wrong way as well, reducing the threshold for people being locked up. I know in the Northern Territory this week, AMSAN put out, or the medical organisations out there put out a statement concerned about new approaches that are seeing young kids locked up. It's just...
Prison is not a place for kids. I know kids do break the law. I know they do things that within the eyes of Australian law is not legal, but sending them to prison is not the place. They don't get rehabilitated there. They learn that prison culture, and I want to see kids out of prison. I want to see some of the issues that in kids' behaviour that that not causes them but leads them to break the law can be pinpointed back to working out things in the community for them, to be within the family unit, within the community section. There's a generation of young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people now, and South Sea Islander people, that are still finding their way. It's harder now for young people than when it was, because when I was young. Jobs were easier to come by then. Financially, it was hard, but it wasn't the struggle that it is today.
Yeah.
We didn't have those Centrelink and the constraints around, the rules around that, and I think young people really feel pressure.
Yeah.
I know the people on Palm Island, the young people on Palm Island feel that pressure. They don't like it, they want to break free from it, but that breaking free takes a lot of energy and a lot of commitment from outside organisations and people to support them, and that's sometimes that's not what organisations are willing to put forward. It's the energy, and it's investing in people's lives, and investment means you spend time and you have programs that engage with them on a personal level, and you got to take the good and the bad,
I guess it goes back to what you said about relationships too.
It's like if something is really meaningful to you and you want to keep that going, you have to build into it.
Yeah.
It's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
It's not, this is the model, this is what we're offering, and this is how you go through the system. It's not. It's about, this is where you're at. How can we meet you where you're at and then walk with you to where, you envision that you want to be.
Lynore, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of time. Would you like to wrap up, and would you like
I'd
to
like
do a
people,
shout out?
I'll do a shout out for Just Justice, because I think it's really important. It affects a large population of our community, and I'd like to see, that last bit of money to come in. You've got till Sunday, till 7 p.m. So dig deep, it's for a good cause, and you're impacting people individually. It's just not about giving to Just Justice program. You're actually going to allow people to use their voice, to tell their stories, and to develop and create solutions.
I think that sort of brings together IHMayDay and Just Justice in a sense. It's about voice and story and solutions. And we've had a request to see the view, so I might say thank you very much, Lynore. It's been lovely chatting with you, and thank you for having me up on this beautiful country for the last few weeks. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're
and it was
welcome.
Particularly nice to spend IHMayDay with you. What a treat. Okay,
well,
everyone.
Show them the view.
Is there. We're looking inland from the top of Castle Hill and Townsville, and you can see there to Mount Stewart, and it's a very dramatic view from up here. We're looking inland, so if we're on the other side, we'd be showing you the water out to Magnetic and Palm Island Group, but it's too glary to show you that way. So just enjoy that view. There's a river running through the town there. You can see Townsville's quite a spread out city, and I do say it's a beautiful place to visit, and particularly at this time time of the year. Thank you very much everyone for joining Dr. Lynore Geia in Townsville talking IHMayDay and Just Justice. Goodbye now. Oh dear. This happens to me every time. Sorry, I always have trouble. Swipe down to stop.